What's up, everybody? It's a beautiful day here on Long Island. My name is Ali.
And I'm Rena. Happy Friday.
Welcome to the No Diet. So, today we're going to be showing you the general basic do's and don'ts of the No Diet. Um,
Basically, the first steps that we use to get started to be successful.
right, right. So, there's a lot more in depth do's and don'ts, which we'll be showing you in later videos, but this is the stuff just to get you guys started right away. And
Yeah, and if you can do these things, that'll get you on the road to being,
right,
yeah,
very
to
successful.
being very successful.
So, let's start it off. So, first thing we want you guys to do is to look at everything as a whole. You know, every piece of food, every piece of everything you buy, everything has pretty much everything has a nutrition label, or if not, you can find it online. Um,
Right. So, like a lot of diets, I think they have, but it's different. There are different diets out there, right? And they
mhm,
all have different ideas of how to lose weight. Like there's some focus only on carbs, some focus only on calories. So it's important to look at all of those as a whole
right.
to maintain, to actually lose weight and keep it off.
Yeah, you can't just look at one thing, you know. So we look at, sugar, carbs, calories, and fat, you know. Um, so do number one, look at
Look at
everything.
everything.
Look at all the whole nutrition label.
And we're going to give you more specific numbers and ranges of what you should aim to be in. Of course, everybody's a little different, but we're going to share that with you next week.
Right. So do always be in a caloric deficit. You know, we'll be again. We were going to be getting in depth with the numbers of how many you should have and how little you should have based on your body type. But as of right now, just make sure that you know if you know what you burn every day, just make sure you're putting in less than that right away. You're going to start losing weight.
Right. Also, I think I know at least for me, one of the first things that I think we both focused on, and which helped us lose weight was the sugar.
Oh yeah,
Because
definitely.
even more so, I mean, calories I would say number two, sugar number one. And
So sugar is a carb, but you need to make sure that your sugar level is as close to zero as possible. Like
right, so let's say something's like 20 grams of carbs. You want to like sugar will fall underneath that in the nutrition label, but you want to try to make sure the percentage of sugar within those carbs are as low as possible.
right, right, because the sugar is the killer.
Hmm.
That's what's going to make you fat. And that comes down to one of our don'ts here that we have is don't have soda, don't have sugar, don't have Starbucks.
So yeah, for me, like I used to love Starbucks. I think I used to go at least once a day, if not twice a day,
Right,
to get like all those drinks and stuff. And if you actually look at the nutritional value of Starbucks, if you go into their website, I mean, one drink can have like in excess of 40 plus grams of sugar. That's like 2 days of sugar for a woman, and I think 1 day of sugar for a man, which is a lot. So one drink can have that, and one drink is not that big. So you want to look for different alternatives for that and different things that you can drink. I completely cut out Starbucks, and now we drink. Um,
coffee at home, or if we have coffee, we'll go to 7-Eleven and have a creamer. Now, just to talk about 7-Eleven creamers, if you ever been to a 7-Eleven, I don't know if you have a Wawa or whatever by you, but most of these places have creamers just sitting right there.
like the what's the International
The
Delight
International
or
Delight
whatever brand they
creamers,
have, yeah.
if you look at the back of those labels and everything, you need to have the regular ones. You can have any flavor you want, but you need to have the regular one. If you take, this comes down to our next one, which is don't have fat free, low fat, or the diet stuff. Because the fat free stuff, the low fat stuff, all are loaded with sugar to give it some better taste.
But the sugar is actually worse
Sugar
for
is
you
worse for
than
you than
if
the
you have the
calories.
full calorie,
Right.
full fat item.
So make sure that, when you're gonna have your coffee or something like that, you can always have these fancy creamers. Just make sure you have the regular one. Only
Right.
put in
And
one
then
serving.
there is a
Don't go too
sugar-free
crazy.
one, but you don't want to have that either because one, it doesn't taste
It
good.
doesn't taste good, yeah,
So
and there's more
another
processed
thing,
stuff in there.
right? Exactly, more processed stuff, and also another thing we mentioned before is like you don't want to deprive yourself. So if you're having something that doesn't even taste good, it's not going to be a good substitute for
Right,
you.
right, exactly. So one of our next thing is no processed foods. You should not be eating processed foods at all. If you look at America, before there were all this processed stuff, everybody was healthy, eating everything they wanted. As soon as
Hmm.
these big corporations started, over processing everything to squeeze every penny out of a product to, feed the American public.
Right, with these weird names that you can't even pronounce.
Exactly. That's when America started getting fat because
Hmm.
they started getting lazy and buying all this garbage.
Hmm.
You
And it
know,
is because of the convenient, like
make
have the
America
convenient for
cook
the
again.
make America cook. But it is because of the convenient lifestyle that all those things like flourished and were successful. But there are things you can make at home that are easy to make, that are quick to make, that'll take you just as long as standing in a McDonald's drive-through line.
Right. Exactly. The time it takes you to get fast food, you could have already prepared a
Right.
20-minute meal
Exactly. Or even a quicker meal than that.
or faster, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So here comes, we're going to go back to a do now. Um, portion control. Portion control is very important, um, because we know how much, calories and fat and everything that we want to put in our body. We know how much we want to eat during the day. So we'll make sure that we stick to it. Obviously some days we're going to be a little bit higher, sometimes we'll be a little bit lower. But if we have some kind of a generic idea where we want to be, that portion control keeps you full for a longer time. If you start eating one meal a day, you might eat more, in that one sitting. Split it up throughout the day.
Hmm. It'll also keep your body's metabolism working
Right, keeps them
and
up
burning, because if you
exactly.
just eat one meal a day, your body's going to think it's deprived and won't be burning the food that you're taking in, even if you are in a deficit with everything.
Right, exactly.
Also, you'll be less hungry if you're eating throughout the day versus just one meal. You won't eat as much in that one meal. Like I know for me, I've never been a fan of breakfast all my life. Like even growing up at work, I'd never eat lunch at work. I'll go to work. I won't eat breakfast. I won't eat lunch, and then I would come home at night, and I would binge eat this big dinner, and that's how I was when I even gained weight. It wasn't that I was eating so much or I was eating throughout the day. That's how I ate. Like I ate very little. Like I ate basically nothing throughout the day, and then I would binge eat at night. But it wouldn't even be still so much food for like the whole day. But because I ate like that, my body was retaining things. After starting this and spacing it out, obviously cutting out the processed foods and being more mindful of what I'm eating, the weight just immediately came off.
Right. A quick don't, is don't beat yourself up.
We
You're,
did mention that before,
yeah, we mentioned
obviously.
that in our last video, about mindset and stuff like that. Just remember that anytime you mess up, it's
Don't
okay.
even think of it. Don't even use that word mess up. Like you're not really messing up because it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. You know, sometimes you won't be able to make the best choices depending on where you are. Even last weekend, we went away for Ollie's birthday, and although we did plan and pack and prepare a little bit, we wanted to go out and have a good time, so we did, and we did gain a little weight, like 2-3 pounds each, but now we've lost it and more. It's not a big deal to do that. It's okay. We enjoyed the weekend, but then as soon as we came back, we went right back to where we started.
Right, exactly. So, just remember to be patient. You know, uh, it'll all work. As long as you are committed to it. You want to lose weight. I'm sure everybody does. Nobody wants to stay fat their whole life. And it'll happen.
So basically, the main takeaways that we want you to know is be mindful of everything you're putting into your body.
Hmm.
Everything is equally important. Sugar, like I said, to start, that should be like the first thing that you focus on, but you still want to take everything into consideration. Um, you don't want to use, as we said before, uh, fat-free items, so low fat, fat-free versus full fat. Always use full fat, but use it in moderation. Look on the back of the label, and if it's mayonnaise and it says a tablespoon of mayonnaise is 90 calories, use your 2 tablespoons or 3 tablespoons, whatever it is, and keep that in mind throughout the day. Because if you're having something like low-fat mayonnaise, fat-free mayonnaise, look at that label. You'll see how much sugar is in there compared to what's
Right.
in the full-fat stuff, and you'll be frustrated because you think you're eating all the stuff like low-fat, full-fat, low-fat, sugar-free, fat-free, and you're not losing weight, and the reason why is because of the sugar.
Right.
So yeah, so definitely, pay attention to everything. Try to cut down your portion size, at least just to start, because we haven't gone into numbers or anything yet, but that's because we don't want you to shock your body. We want you to take your time and do what we did to gradually get into it so you can stay on it and be successful.
Right.
So just try to stop eating the processed foods. If you can do that, if you can do that one thing, before we start getting into numbers, that'll be huge. Like, cut out McDonald's, cut out Taco Bell, cut out any sort of fast food. If you want a burger, try to make it at home.
Right.
There are so many, and we're gonna give you recipes for those things. But just if you can just cut out the processed foods, even I think going back to the Starbucks thing, people don't even realize how much sugar can be in a small cup of coffee when you're going to these like specialty coffee places. Even when you're having like, I remember there's this holiday drink from Starbucks that I love. It's the chestnut praline, and this past winter I really wanted it, and I went on their website and tried to customize that drink every way I could for me just to have it. But I couldn't get it under like 38 grams of sugar, so it is not going to happen. Like,
Right.
it is not worth it. Just if you cut those small things out, you won't even. I don't even miss it anymore because, like we said, we have our substitute for that
Yeah.
too. So again, be mindful of everything. Portion control. Cut out the sugar. Cut out the processed foods. If you can do those 4 things, you will definitely be on your way to being successful, and the next step won't even be that difficult for you at all.
So that wraps up our video about the basic do's and don'ts of what our diet is. But next week on Tuesday, please join us because we're going to be getting more in depth about the numbers and
Your targets of where you really want to look to be.
Right.
But first, it's like we said, it's important to take these small steps first.
Yeah, right. All right, take care, everybody. Peace.
Bye.